delight to be back with CEDA. I always welcome the opportunity to attend CEDA events and welcome your interest and investment in our state. I think it provides us with a fantastic platform to consider what we can do to support the ongoing strength in our economy and to engage business and community leaders in a positive and constructive environment like this against the backdrop of the fantastic work that CEDA does. So Stephen, to you and to Stephen and Michael and your team, thank you very much for your ongoing and in fact increasing interest in what we're doing here in Tasmania. We're not going to talk footy today. We'll talk about the budget and the economy, far more interesting subjects. But I am pleased to be able to report that both are certainly back on track. That is our budget and that is our economy. As I told Parliament last week though, we're not getting carried away with that, we're certainly not complacent. There's a lot more we need to do to sustain economic growth. There are areas we need to do more, and I'll talk about that today. But we remain fundamentally committed to our principal objective, and that's to support ongoing strength in our economy, to support more job opportunities for Tasmanians, and to be able as a government to reinvest the dividends of a strong economy back into the core business of government, core services that we provide and which Tasmanians deserve. When we came into government just 2.5 years ago, we did identify a repair task to our budget that we would be focused on, as well as a desire to kickstart our economy and to stimulate economic growth from day one. So the state budget is now back in surplus, back into the black. This for the first time in 6 years. And in the last year, our economy's grown at its fastest rate in 6 years. Michael Pascoe, not long ago, described Tasmania as the unlikely star of the national economy, enjoying a purple patch with some of the strongest growth indicators in Australia. And I'd like to make the case that it's not happened by chance. It certainly hasn't been easy, particularly when you consider that we have had quite an extraordinary year of challenges confronting our island state. Earlier this year, on one day, around 1,900 lightning strikes sparked wildfires across our state, more than 300 bushfires burning 120,000 hectares, a record of 15 total fire ban days, the most ever, and one of the longest and worst fire seasons in recent years. These fires, to this point in time, have cost the state about $53 million. But thankfully, given the scale and scope, remarkably, not a single life or property was lost. We've endured one of the most significant energy security challenges in the state's history. This was the result of the lowest spring rainfall and the hottest summer this state has ever experienced, combined with the first ever extended outage of the Basslink cable, which Hydro have described as about a 1 in 3,000 event. So in response, and I acknowledge the work done by Hydro Tasmania alongside the government, we implemented an energy supply plan which was successful in delivering key objectives of maintaining energy security, avoiding forced power rationing, protecting jobs in the economy, and keeping power prices as low as possible. And we kept the lights on. As a result of more recent rains and the successful implementation of this plan, we're now in a much stronger position than we were. However, we will still face ongoing challenges which require a continued focus on very careful and prudent management. We've established an energy security task force to identify ways to future-proof Tasmania from these types of challenges. And Hydro Tasmania has put in place measures to ensure that we manage energy security. Then in June, we suffered catastrophic flooding, which was declared a national natural disaster. And tragically, these floods, this event did claim the lives of Tasmanians, and there's still one man missing. There was devastation to rural properties, to livestock, homes, businesses, significant loss to state and private infrastructure. Numerous roads and bridges were destroyed, power lines down, and extensive debris clean-up being required. A huge social and economic impact with 19 local government areas affected. And the total damages bill has been estimated at $180 million, including about $80 million to infrastructure alone. There are 144 Tasmanian businesses affected, about 130 houses. It's estimated that 68 of them are still uninhabitable. We've commenced an independent review to assess all aspects of the event, our preparation, resilience and awareness, and the effectiveness of our transition from recovery into, or from the initial response into recovery, so that we can learn from this catastrophic event. So these events, each of them, this set of unprecedented challenges, reminds us of our vulnerabilities as a state, a small island state. But we responded to each of these in a calm, measured and diligent way, with a measured approach and a responsible approach. Our emergency services, I must say, worked tirelessly alongside state, local and federal governments, volunteers, community and private sector organisations to work through these events. And there are certainly lessons that will be learned from these events, and we'll make sure that our state is better equipped to deal with things like this into the future. It's very much an important part of our plan. That is how we can future-proof our state. And one of the things we can do, and that we will do, is future-proof the state budget. It's one of the most important things we can do to make sure that our budget is on a strong footing, because getting the budget back on track obviously means we can better invest in essential services, as well as weather unexpected challenges into the future, because our budget too can experience shocks, not always of our own making, so we need to be diligent and continue to properly manage our expenditures wisely and to future-proof our budget against future risks as well. For instance, this year we have suffered a write-down in GST receipts of well over $500 million. Now, that's a shock that we're able to endure because we have the budget back on a firm footing. It's certainly not easy, it doesn't happen by chance, and it requires some difficult decisions and a lot of discipline. We resisted the temptation and the invitations from some to spend previous GST windfalls on recurrent expenditure, because that is an unsustainable proposition. We've kept spending growth in the public sector to 1.7% compared to 4.8% over the last 8 years of the former government. We have a policy to cap public sector wages at 2% for the next 3 years, which will still provide wage increase in real terms, nearly twice the rate of inflation. But most importantly, that is affordable, it is sustainable, and we've factored that into our balanced budget. And we've made some difficult but necessary savings decisions, not always popular, but necessary to get our budget back on track. And without these savings measures, which we implemented in our first budget and since, we'd still be heading to deficits, at least until the year 2020. Now, the preliminary outcomes report of 2015-16 shows that last year we delivered an estimated surplus of over $60 million. It's the best budget result since 2005-06. This is a $270 million turnaround compared to what the very dire forecasts contained in the report we received from Treasury on coming into government. This current budget year, we're budgeting for a surplus of $77.3 million, and across the 4 years of the forward estimates, a cumulative surplus of nearly $50 million. Now, we'd like them to be a little larger, but when you consider that against the backdrop of a $1.1 billion of accumulated deficits that we inherited on coming into government, a net debt projected to reach $400 million, now we've got cash and assets expected to be around $300 million as of the 30th of June next year. So all this has been achieved by controlling expenditures, by remaining disciplined, and an increase, albeit modest, in revenues as a result of our strengthening economy. We haven't introduced, nor do we plan to introduce, a single tax, not one. In fact, we've lowered the cost of living and the cost of doing business here. And this demonstrates that you can undertake successful budget repair without increasing taxes. And the dividend of this, the most important dividend of all this, getting the budget back on track, is that we are now able to better invest in the core services of government. In health, for example, on coming into government, we immediately invested an additional $76 million into addressing what were then the longest elective surgery waiting lists in the country. When you combine that with a $25 million contribution from the federal government, elective surgery waiting lists in Tasmania are now the shortest that they've ever been. We've employed around 100 new nurses, opened more than 70 additional hospital beds. But of course, the health budget will remain an ongoing task and a challenge to any government. We will continue to be so into the future as we have an ageing population, as we have increasing health costs above the general rate of inflation, and as we have to fix a health system that was broken. That's why we're making very important, difficult but necessary decisions to change that system, to redesign a broken system into a more unified and efficient health system. For example, the Mersey Community Hospital, we will make that a dedicated elective surgery hospital that will in turn free up beds for patients in our other major hospitals. It's a very difficult challenge, and one which locally has some political risk, but it's important, it's critical if we are to implement a health system that's unified, that's more efficient, and that gives Tasmanians the health services they deserve. In education, another centrepiece of my government's agenda, and from day one we've said that investing in our greatest asset, our people, especially our young people, and improving their education is a core element of our government's plan. We've got record levels of investment in education and training, eclipsing $6 billion in this budget alone over the forward estimates. It includes a commitment to the full Gonski, which has enabled us to invest in the quality of our teachers and support staff, including new teachers in literacy and numeracy, into maths and to science. We've got more school nurses. But if it were just about how much money we're investing, I think the problem might have been fixed some time ago. But in our view, it's simply not good enough to have around 2,000 young Tasmanians leaving their schooling before they're properly equipped to do so. Leaving their schooling before they've completed Year 12. Close to 90% of jobs require at least the Year 12 or equivalent education or training. We've got about 2,000 of our kids leaving school before they even get into Years 11 and 12. I don't think it's good enough that we're below the national average in the key range of literacy and numeracy measures. So again, it's not just about investing money, it's about fixing a system that was broken. So we are changing the age at which students can start school and when they finish. As it currently stands, Tasmanian students can walk out of school with as much as 2 years less education than their interstate counterparts. Is it little wonder that we are not performing as well as we should, and that Tasmanian students aren't getting the same sort of educational outcomes as their counterparts in every other state in the country. We're changing a system that has allowed too many of our students to leave school at the end of Year 10, way too early, and our policy to extend high schools around the state, initially in regional areas, but already schools in metropolitan parts of the state are now wanting to be part of this program as well. It's seen a 57% increase in enrolment in the first 12 schools who extended to Year 12 since 2014. There are more students in those regional communities engaged in their education longer. And as a result, we're now starting to close the gap on those national retention rates and NAPLAN results where we've often lagged way behind. Importantly, and perhaps unsurprisingly, we've seen great upturn where we've had 25 additional literacy and numeracy specialists working with students at the greatest risk in Year 7, 9, writing, and Year 7 numeracy. So we're seeing the results for our investment as we not only invest record levels but fix the system. And simultaneously, as we extend at the later years of an education, we are also lowering the starting age for prep just by 6 months, again bringing us into line with the other states of Australia, and to give parents an option, a choice, as to whether they want to be able to access free education for their kids wherever they live. The truth of this all is that if we kept doing the same thing, we'd keep getting the same results, and they're clearly not good enough. So we're determined to do what we can to improve the performance of our education system and to give Tasmanians their very, very best shot in life. And the centrepiece to our agenda as well, again against the backdrop of a budget that's back under control, is that we are better able to invest in ways to support the most vulnerable in our community. A nation-leading $26 million family violence action plan, $20 million redesign of our child protection system, the implementation of the National Disability Insurance Scheme in Tasmania, an affordable housing action plan to deliver around 900 new homes for Tasmanians needing a roof over their heads. Again, made possible because we've got the budget back under control, and a budget that's being supported by growth in our economy. As I mentioned at the start, our economy is in good shape, certainly better than when we came into government. And it's critical because it not only supports our budget, but it also creates and supports business opportunities and more jobs for Tasmanians. Last year, our economy grew at its fastest rate in 6 years. The latest state final demand figures show that we're continuing this momentum. With our SFD for the June quarter at the third fastest growing of any state in the country. Retail trade is the fastest growing rate of any state. Business investment in new capital grew at the second fastest rate in the nation. The number of housing finance commitments grew at 3 times the national rate compared to the previous year. The number of dwelling approvals has increased. The number of tourists is up to record levels and they're spending more. Our population finally is now growing at its fastest rate in 4 years. And the state's unemployment rate stands at 6.7%, which is down 0.8% since the election. That means there are about 1,600 more people in employment and about 1,900 less on unemployment queues. Now, I'm always at pains to point out that this isn't the great work of your government alone, of course. I fundamentally believe that it's business, it's enterprise, it's industry that are the true drivers of economic growth in our state. But it's supported by a government that is pro-business, pro-industry, pro-investment and pro-development. And we want to do what we can to support businesses to maintain the high levels of confidence that they have, to employ more Tasmanians and to expand their prospects both here and abroad. And we have played a role. One of the first things, as I say, we wanted to do was to kickstart the economy and to give business confidence that they have a government that backs them. So we immediately abolished headworks charges on new developments. This has underpinned a massive 83% in new applications. It brought forward major investments in developments like the exciting $35 million Mac 1 hotel development. We provided the support that was necessary to revive the Myer redevelopment, to breathe new life back into our CBD. We've implemented a buy local policy which has seen a 25% increase in the value of contracts awarded to Tasmanian businesses, with the latest quarterly data showing 93% of the total value of contracts awarded went to Tasmanian businesses. That's a government backing Tasmanian business. We're implementing a statewide planning scheme. We've extended the first home builders boost to $20,000 to stimulate the home building construction sector, the cornerstone of our state's economy. We refurbished the Spirits of Tasmania. We put on additional sailings to help bring additional tourists into our state to increase freight capacity on those ships. We've had a 26% increase in total passengers as a result, and that number is growing. We partnered with the federal government to deliver a $25 million jobs and investment fund, which has supported 800 new jobs for Tasmanians. We have increased our engagement with countries overseas through trade missions to places like China, to India, Sri Lanka, Singapore and Indonesia, because we want to provide more opportunities for Tasmanian business to access the fastest and largest growing economies in the world. And in the last year alone, our exports to China have risen dramatically, and overall an increase to our export sector of 8.4% in the last year alone, compared to what was in fact negative growth nationally. We've partnered with the federal government and with farmers to invest in the second tranche of major irrigation schemes across the state, which will turbocharge our agricultural sector. We've supported our farming community with $5.5 million following the floods to help them get back on their feet. We have a $425 million infrastructure investment announced in our most recent budget. Now, this is just a sample of some of the 160-odd policies and initiatives and programs that are currently underway, available and detailed for each and every one of you in a jobs and economic update that we'll be releasing a little later today. And these initiatives, they're targeted and they're in line with the plan we took to the election and that we took into government to kickstart the economy, to return confidence to the community, which, as I say, now ranks amongst the highest in the nation, to back our competitive strengths, to invest in infrastructure that supports our businesses, to fix our budget, and to deliver strong and stable government. As I've said, I will readily acknowledge that this isn't as good as it gets. There's still a lot more to be done. While the unemployment rate has declined, we want it lower. And it's become apparent for some time that Tasmania is experiencing, some describe as a two-speed economy. Hobart's moving ahead strongly, the northwest is holding up well, but the north is doing it tougher. In fact, the employment figures confirm that a large portion of the total statewide decline in employment numbers can be attributed to the decline of employment in the north, that is around Launceston and the northeast in particular. According to the most recent ABS data, the unemployment rate in Hobart and the southeast was estimated at 6.2%, with a participation rate of around 60.4%. Notably, the unemployment rate in the west and northwest had fallen to 5.9% in the year to July 2016. In fact, employment levels in the northwest had reached an all-time high. Most worrying, though, is that the unemployment rate in the northern region is considerably higher than the other regions, currently estimated at 7.7%. A major reason for this difference across the state is that the Hobart and South East region has seen a higher number of value construction projects, particularly in the Hobart area, which has not been replicated in the north. Some have been driven by government, including the Royal Hobart Hospital redevelopment project, but most by the private sector, particularly the number of new hotels under development and the increase in construction activity. So it's not a new issue, and in fact in our last budget we committed additional funds to the Northern Cities project, now $90 million, importantly to support the relocation of university campuses into Launceston and Burnie, which will transform those cities. It's also why we are undertaking other proactive measures to stimulate economic activity in the north, the upgrades to the Spirits, for example, or our regional events startup fund to provide encouragement to those who might want to add to Tasmania's already world-class calendar of events outside Hobart. But it's clear that we need to do more, given those figures that I've just told you about. So tomorrow we will be releasing a specific and targeted set of measures designed to stimulate more economic activity in the north of the state and to bring the levels of growth in the north up to what the south, the northwest and the west are enjoying. It'll be a significant package. It'll underpin and bring forward economic activity which is valued at in excess of $100 million, and it will be focused on those areas with key competitive advantage and strength. Capital investments into our schools, into affordable housing, investments in tourism and industry, and it will also involve an innovative new partnership with local government where we can leverage greater investments into capital infrastructure projects in the north. Now, in conclusion, before we get to question time, which I'm looking forward to, I'd just like to touch a little on an issue that I spoke about this time last year, and that's the sharing economy. I said then that the sharing economy is well and truly arrived, and if we want greater competition, lower transaction costs, more choice for consumers, we as a government also have a choice, and that is to deny the inevitable or to embrace the sharing economy and seize the opportunities it presents, and that was the choice we took. I announced that we'd be the first state to legislate to legalise ride sharing, and I'm very pleased to confirm that last month this legislation passed our Parliament, and as a result, CEDA have indicated that they intend to commence operations in Tasmania this summer. I've always also acknowledged that we are pretty well entering uncharted territory here, so it's important that government consults with stakeholders, existing business operators, those affected by this policy, to manage the opportunities but also the impacts presented by the sharing economy. And as a government that strongly supports Tasmania's small businesses, we need to ensure that existing operators are able to adapt to the change as well. So that's why, as part of our consultations, we've agreed that there be no new taxi licences issued for the next 3 years to support our existing operators to adjust to the entrance into the market of ride sharing. Similarly, in our tourism industry, which is booming, as I've said, it's become even more important that we embrace the sharing economy. It's a fact that without it, companies like Airbnb and Stays, for example, we would have a serious accommodation shortage. Across Tasmania, Airbnb has around 2,000 active listings, and Stays has more than 1,000. There are about 124,000 Airbnb users coming into our state and using that accommodation. That's about 10% of our visitors. So, like with ride sharing, the challenge is to strike the right balance between the competing interests of existing businesses and for those in the sharing economy, and to, as best we can, provide a level playing field for all. And we've sought to strike the right balance, albeit in uncharted territory, but by extensively consulting and engaging with those stakeholders and looking at what's happening in other jurisdictions. In the home sharing market, we've put a stake in the ground. We've proposed that a property owner might be able to rent their property for up to 42 nights without a permit. This is a starting position. It's a position from which we can have a debate and engage and consult to understand the impacts of such a decision and to strike the right balance. The 42-day permit-free period is in fact a significant reduction in red tape as it currently exists, because now if you want to participate in this market, from day one you need to get a planning permit right across the state. So it's a stake in the ground from which we can engage and consult and get the balance right. The Tasmanian Planning Commission is independently, separately conducting its own process, and the government's engaging with stakeholders and canvassing a variety of views and perspectives. And I'm very confident that we will be able to land a position that strikes the right balance and that puts Tasmania front of the pack in the sharing economy. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would suggest very strongly to you all that in the last 2.5 years we've come a long way. We've certainly faced some unprecedented challenges that have confronted our state. We've got through them. We've got through them together, and we're a stronger state for it. Tasmania is changing for the better. Our budget is back on track and back in the black, and our economy is growing at its fastest rate in 6 years. We're not complacent about it. I remind my colleagues, my government, that it's our job to keep it that way with the support of the Tasmanian business and industry. But equally, there's never been a better time, dare I say a more exciting time to be a Tasmanian. As more people have an interest in what we have to offer, we are a must-see destination and our products are must-have. And people are wanting to invest in our state and at least come and visit it. We're certainly unique and we're certainly a little different. That's what sets us apart and makes it very hard to compete. So we will continue, I would say, ladies and gentlemen, to deliver strong, stable, unified government that's very much focused on maintaining the momentum. We're a government that wants to be engaged and wants to participate in forums like this. So I'll stop talking and let you ask me some questions with my very, very firm commitment that your government will continue to work hard every day to make sure that we capitalise on the great potential of our great state.